So Ray, we've got the transmission out of your Acura. I think it's an 04 Acura TL, and we'll go over a couple of the things we found for you. Inside the transmission, I think the reason for the noise, these bearings are supposed to be solid inside the case, so we really should have no movement back and forth. So all three of these bearings are supporting shafts, and it's important that they be supported correctly so we don't have the shafts not running in a true centerline fashion. So what we've got here, you can see this bearing here. You can see, if you look right here, you can see how much clearance we have there. You can actually hear the bearing moving in the bore. So all I'm doing is moving the bearing back and forth. It should be tight. Like if we look at this one here, when I try to move it, I really can't move that bearing. So that bearing has a little bit of play, but really it's fairly solid compared to this one. So this bearing here has a lot of movement. So what's happened is the bearing has been spinning in the bore, and it's worn this hole larger than it should be. So it's affected the teeth. There is some scuffing marks on the teeth. They don't look perfect. They really don't look that bad, but I think that changing, like taking care of this wear here will probably take care of most of the gear noise that we found in first and second. So the speed gears themselves, they do look like they're in okay shape. So I don't see another good reason for the noise, but definitely that the shaft hasn't been allowed to run in true centerline like it's supposed to. So when we look, another piece that's worn out is this surface here is where a sprag would ride, and the surface right here is worn. If we flip it over, you can see really it should look like this, where this surface here is all uniform. It doesn't feel like there's a really large ridge, but on this side, you can see that line. It's a pretty definitive line. That's going to be area that's been worn, and if we don't take care of that, we can definitely expect some problems down the road. So this piece right inside here is what rides against it. So the elements on this sprag are worn as well. So these pieces here are going to have to be addressed as well. The clutches themselves, really, there's not a whole bunch of slippage there. The clutches look reasonable when we check all of them. You can see like a slight discoloration there, but not too bad. These frictions here are a darker material, but if you look at the steel plates, they haven't been slipping, so the clutches themselves are not the problem. The real big issue is that bearing. So what happens is these shafts are supposed to be sitting in here, so you're going to have a bearing in there to support that, and then this area here comes through this bearing, and then that bearing is supporting this end. So in effect what's happening is this shaft is not being held stationary like it should. It has a slight bit of movement like that, which is going to affect the way these gears are touching each other. And while you're driving, that's going to be a good reason for your noise. So Eric is going to contact you a little later with what our expected estimate costs are going to be, and we'll go from there.